Well, I'm out and about again, testing this XJ650. The engine featured in something we did a few weeks ago. The owner brought us the engine of this and a 650 turbo to rebuild. He supplied us the bits and pieces, new primary drive chains, cam chains, and all sorts of bits inside. We rebuilt both motors. He refitted them back at home and went for a test ride, and all was good until he'd done about 80 miles, and then he found just here on this seam joint he had oil leaking out. They have two high pressure oil feeds here. They go up to the back and up to the front camshaft, and in that joint the gasket had started to pass the oil through. If we tested it and got it hot, he rode the bike into us first to have a look at it. I said, bring it in, let's see. And you could see oil just bubbling out of the gasket, and it was actually forcing through the laminations, the layers of the gasket. Now, we have had this happen on another engine, a GPZ1100 that time, and it's for different reasons. We traced it down on this one to the gasket set that the customer had supplied us. Inside that joint are two rubber tubes that are supposed to stop the oil getting even to the gasket in the first place. The tubes were just the wrong size. They were too small and too thin walled. So they'd basically given in. The high pressure oil had got to the gasket. The gasket on its own isn't really capable of holding the actual fluid oil back. It creeps its way through the reinforcement material of the gasket, passes through the filler material, which on these is usually graphite now, and just starts to bubble through when it gets really hot and the oil gets really thin. So we took it apart, took the head off, we fitted some genuine Yamaha O-rings or tube seals. Now, you can't get the head gaskets for these anymore, genuine from Yamaha, but you can get the tube seals. So we've put an Athena head gasket back on with the Yamaha original seals, which were different to the ones that we took off. We could tell the Yamaha ones were better quality all around. They were longer, they were thicker walled, and they were stronger. It's out and about testing. That joint now is dry as a bone. Everything seems to be back to how it should be. We've done it quite happily for the customer. I've said we'll do it as goodwill. We don't like engines leaving us and having any sort of problem, whether we supplied the parts or the customer supplied the parts. The main thing from my point of view, I just want it to be right again for the owner to enjoy. So we've done all that, put it back together. We changed a couple of other bits and pieces, and while we've had it in, we've balanced the carbs because the owner didn't have vacuum gauges to do that anyway. So it's had a little bit of more setup work. It seems to be riding beautifully now, and we haven't got any oil coming out of that joint. It's done just over 20 miles now. I think he'd done about 60 or 70 before he started to notice the problem, but it probably had been leaking since it first started up and passing through. That's got this one sorted. I had a concern that the 650 turbo engine might do the same thing because it's a similar setup, but when he checked back, the gasket set he got for the 650 turbo was a different brand. We're hoping that the seals in that one were better quality and that they won't have the same issue. Time will tell on that one, but fingers crossed that's the case. The GPZ1100 that I mentioned earlier, I will actually go through another time and explain. We've got a slightly different problem on that one, but the same actual outcome of oil coming out. We are finding a solution to sort that one out for the owner. Anyway, I'm going to head my way back to the unit and finish this one off and then let the owner know it's ready to go.